Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
We all be honored to have on Dr. Randy Short, the People's Champ, once again, a crowd
Coon busting, y'all. Coon busting.
That's right. And also we got a special guest reporting live from the front lines, better known as Remo in Minnesota, is going to give us the 411 of what's really going on and what they're not really telling you on corporate mind control news. How you doing today, Brother Remo?
I'm doing well.
So I want to ask you first and foremost, I'm glad that I hope everything's okay with you. I know these are very unpredictable times, but can you tell us what's going on from your perspective? What's really happening versus what we're seeing on the TV screen?
This is Brother Remo here, right here on the front lines. I am a guy that's played sports in the community, and I wanted to clear a few things up that'll kind of give us some closure on this whole thing. You know, some of the story that you guys hear out there has totally been fabricated. I mean, this is more than just a race thing. This is more of a corruption thing as well. And it ties... Give me a second.
Did we lose it?
Oh, Brother Remo?
No, you can lose me. Someone's knocking at my door.
Oh, okay.
But I won't answer. But let me finish the story. This is more, Lee, of... This story is more of the characters who know the police force and they have ties where they're pretty much untouched. I mean, it's you know, let's go off into the point where the story happened. George comes in this store. There's a 14-year-old at the desk who should have been working there. And it's a lot of poor judgment. The money gets turned over to a brother. And George has already eaten his food. And so keep in mind, this store has always taken money from the black community because it's the blacks drive that community. I mean, all the cops have cleaned up Lake Street, they've cleaned up Franklin, they've cleaned up downtown. That street is ran by the Minneapolis Bloods who have been here since the early 70s. And basically, that block has never been cleaned up in over 40 years. And I don't even think it's going to clear up. And the reason why I say this is because that store attracts all of the gangs. And one of the store owners happens to be one of the gang members. So, but I ain't going to go into that. I'm going to get into where anytime the cops is called to that store, they know who owns the store and they know about what that store provides. As far as trouble. And so those cops are already ready, rocking and rolling, ready to go over there, whatever that's going on or what's heard up at that store. Sorry that I was interrupted by some people. I'm sorry. I have a shop that's still open right now, and we're still doing business here at this point. But so excuse me if I cut in and out. But basically, there's a history, is what I mean here, and there's a connection with the cops and the owners where they use that store as a front to locate the gang members that they need. And I'm not going to go further in the story. Like I said, I fear for my life from what I'm saying, but I want the truth to get out because people are not understanding the story, and that's why this violence around here in the whole city continues. Now, what I do know is the KKK was in town. They burned down all the community buildings, and some of the owners from the COVID, what I'm hearing up here, where they got hit by COVID, they burned down some of the buildings, the people who own the buildings. And so it was all a front to frame the black community to say that we're burning down buildings when I know, in fact, black folks are not arson. Mm-hmm. We'll do a drive-by shooting before we burn anything. Okay? And so they threw a curfew out in the street, not informing the public that the KKK was in town, and they threw a party at Powderhorn Park. Now do your research. This is all black community that I'm telling you about. And it's called the Powderhorn area. They have the city leveled off in different areas. Okay, I grew up in the Harriet area where, there's lakes, things of that nature, but yet that community is joined together because it's almost like a small borough. So you're only 5 minutes away to 6 minutes away from these stores that are in the black community. Now, keep this in mind. They told people to stay in their homes on curfew because the KKK, they wanted the law enforcement wanted to show the power of the KKK because all of them drove up here and hoteled up in a small city called Fridley. I had received a call from my brother briefly that he got trapped in on 46th and Nicollet by a Pump and Munch gas station where they trapped him in, and he was scared out of his mind. And I guess he drove through a barricade because they had the military barricade all the freeways so the blacks couldn't run if they got caught by the KKK. And then they also wanted to make sure. Now, when I state this, I'm going to tell you, the racist part of town in Minnesota is called Dakota County and Ramsey County. That is St. Paul. We're two cities combined. That makes the Twin Cities, St. Paul and Minneapolis. Now, keep in mind, the racist cities never got burned and never got touched because when the KKK came in town, they did the research at the hotels to find out who the black businesses were. See? This is a huge thing, man, that everyone's missing outside of what happened to Brother George Floyd, who got killed, rest in peace. Now, keep in mind, Apple Valley, Burnsville, Hastings, Lakeville, Prior Lake, none of those areas got touched, and that's where most of the racism is in the whole entire city. Anybody that's black that goes across that Cedar Bridge, that crosses the Mississippi, you're pretty much, you're going to get harassed in Dakota County. Bottom line, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't care what kind of car you're in. They see black, they're pulling you over no matter what. Okay? Now, I want to get to a point. Okay? They barricaded off the city. The military helped them barricade off the freeway so that way they didn't know who was burning everything up. Whoever burned up the 3rd Precinct on Hiawatha and whoever burned up all the auto zones and O'Reilly's all the way down from Lake Street, all the way down to, they didn't really burn anything down in Uptown. They just looted Uptown. See? They did their research. When they came into town, they found out who were the black businesses and what was the black community. They burned down every store in the black community that KKK did. And they did a lousy job of letting everybody know that they were here because they put the curfew out there to keep people from getting killed by the KKK. They were driving around on trucks with automatic weapons and semi-automatic weapons. I seen them. But see, this was what the sad part is in Minnesota. They've been one of the racist parts of the state ever since Philando got killed. And I apologize, I don't watch a whole lot of TV because, I work 14 hours a day. And by the time I get home, I'm tired. Okay? And the thing is, to me, is when my 13-year-old boy calls me and says, Dad, they burnt down the whole city, he was really checking on me to make sure I was okay because he knows that I'm from that community. Now, keep this in mind. I'm going to get off into what that store, Cup Foods, is used for. Now, I found out some information today, like I said, and I'm going to get to that point. I like to kind of skip around because it's a lot of information. This case with George Floyd is entirely about who the police are in that area and what they hear from that area. And they know that the blacks are in that area, and they haven't taken out this neighborhood and cleaned it up because all the gangs have ruined all the small businesses in this area because the crime is coming across the street. People are getting their laptops snatched at the coffee stores at the Black Eye, and so, it's causing a lot of businesses. And not only that, Cup Foods, they're paying people to vandalize businesses that come into the area that are competitors to their business. I mean, they all those guys are IT guys. They have cameras on their stores that can see 7 blocks down the street to where all their properties are. I mean, their family is heavily connected with the state. Their dad was an old drug dealer, and that store was raised off of narcotics. And now keep this in mind. Every store in the city got burned down but their store. And you wonder why? Because they're protected. Okay? Anytime, I mean, I could tell you all kinds of claims from that store. They've raped a 14-year-old young lady that used to work there with them, and they paid the family off so he wouldn't be filed as a sex offender, so he wouldn't get his gun license taken because the cops hate coming down there, dealing business down there with other criminals because it's dangerous. And when I tell you that it's dangerous is, those guys, they stay out on that block from day, noon, and night doing whatever that they do. That's none of my business. Okay? But they're not working. They're staying out there all day long. And so when rival gangs know that that's like that, they ride through and you get drive-bys. Now, keep in mind, I haven't heard anything like this in 5 years. Okay? But I do know that store, whenever there's something over in this area, it's store-related. Okay? That is a fact. And so the thing is, since they won't burn down the store because they want you to burn down the store because they got a $7-8 million policy on that store, so they're going to get cashed out either way. And that's what they want. That's what they want you to do. So everybody who wants to burn down that store, don't burn it. You let that store stay right where it is and let the state shut them down. But guess what? There's a twist. Keith Ellison is the general. He handles all the businesses here in the state. The Attorney General's office. He's the owner, or actually, he's the main lead there when it comes to that. And so it's not a coincidence that that's this way.
Okay, let me clarify. Let me clarify what he's saying, Ron.
Well, someone walked in on me. And the information that I speak is private.
Right. So I understand.
I'll clear it up really quick for you if you don't mind.
Okay.
Keith Ellison jumped on the case because that family, they're worth a lot. Their family is worth $200 million or more. Now keep in mind, it's easy to extort their family if you just tell them, hey, we'll keep your store open, but if not, we'll close you down. Now, I don't have to go any further than that to say anything other than that, but that's the reason why, because why would Attorney General, now Keith Ellison used to be a prosecutor attorney in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Why would an Attorney General jump to take a case like that? Okay? So that's what I'm trying to tell you. This case is morally.
And ask yourself another question. Why can't the Attorney General get those other officers convicted after the chief of police said yesterday that they were complicit? What's the whole?
You know why? I'm going to answer that question quickly. Because those police officers in the 3rd Precinct, they use the store owner as a pond for investigations that they need. So they need to keep him at that store, because if that store doesn't be there, it could hurt their investigations on who they have on those people that come in and out of the store.
Okay, so
and not only that, those cops worked for the store owner on in the summer hours when it's really bad and crime gets really bad in the summer. The 3rd Precinct, they're paid from the store owner to go in there and work.
Now, so Brother Ron, let me reprise this for the audience. It's not white and black, or it's not just white and black. It's illegals and browns and honorary whites against blacks. In Minnesota and every city in the country, it is not unusual for these stores, often Islamic owned, and sometimes they can be Orthodox Christians. They can be Chaldees in Detroit. These people sell drugs, inferior food. They're gangsters in their own way, and they support the destruction of the black community while they get paid. And they'll hide behind one religion or the other. In this instance, Islam is the religion of choice to manipulate. So that's what you have here. And what I want people to understand, normally when there's a crime scene, they should have shut that whole damn store down. There should be yellow tape and shit, not a memorial. There should be, that whole thing should be yellow taped off. Why haven't they done that? You tell me you're honoring a black family? Bullshit. Bullshit. Now, all those officers should have been questioned. Everybody in that place should have been questioned. Everybody should have been questioned by now already. The owner of that store and his family should be questioned. All of his audio-visual stuff should have been seized. If not by the state or by the city, by the feds. And the same problems that exist in Baltimore, where Freddie Gray was killed, or where Big Mike, it's the same people, the Arabs, selling drugs and Lucy's and all this kind of stuff. In fact, the owner of this Cup Foods was the one that made the call. It was an execution call, the same way an execution call was made to Pantaleo to kill Eric Garner. There's no secret in this. So the black community is oppressed not just by police, but by foreign narco-terrorist gangs in Chicago, everywhere. And our people are going to have to fight for our lives against traitors and foreign invaders. Now, I want to give you a good story, and you've been lied to by the news. Remo and I have a mutual acquaintance, or actually a mutual friend. Brother's been very good. In fact, he's a listener to your program. This man, just a few days ago, had a delivery of gasoline. KA Transport had a driver. His name is, let me pull his name up. Sogdan. He's the gentleman that they said was in a tractor trailer trying to run over black people in Minnesota. And in reality, this man had just delivered a fuel to a black father and son owned business that's a friend of the community. They ain't selling dope and drug paraphernalia out their place. And this man got attacked. He was confused because there were people on the highway. He managed not to kill anybody, but they've made it out that he was trying to kill people. And they threw him in jail. Now, I want to say something to people. A lot of black folk get excited as if the system is going to avenge them. When I saw they arrested this white gentleman and he hadn't hurt anybody, I said, that doesn't make any sense. They don't arrest whites that kill black people. Why are you going to arrest one that didn't kill anyone? I didn't know anything about it. Since it doesn't make any sense. If you didn't hurt anyone, how can you be put? And then you got beaten. It seems as if you would have charged the people that beat you. Instead, they picked up this man. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. And they have him in jail. And I'm against lynching. I don't care if it's a white person getting lynched. Here's a person that's risking his life to help a black business during this thing, and his reward is that he gets put in jail, and folks want to kill him on a lie. George Zimmerman's going to live to be 900 years old if Coons had it that way. The guy who killed Big Mike will live to be 10,000 years old if Coons had it their way. The guy who choked Eric Garner is going to live to be 1,000 years old. But look, it's interesting how they do this. The media will throw a white victim to black people as a detour, as a decoy, to fool and manipulate us, and that's what's happening with this man. They need to let this man go. We don't want only folks who are trying to work with us getting persecuted. And he got beat up by white folk. Are you hearing me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're deliberately creating situations, making it seem as if black folks won the victory every time you see something go up in smoke. They're asking who burnt, why they burnt, and they call us all black, and I see mostly white people. It looks like it's a rugby game in London, and they're calling it a black mark. I mean, what the fuck? And where is everybody? In fact, I just saw something. What's his name? Sandy Rubenstein.
Mm-hmm.
The lawyer that was accused of gang raping. One of Al Sharpton's lawyers. And Al Sharpton's on his birthday. Sandy Rubenstein, look it up. He beat it. He's Jewish. Of course, a white man. You show me a case when a white man's ever been convicted of raping a black woman. I research and read all the time. I've only run across one case. In the 50 years I've known how to read, I've only come across one case of white men being convicted for raping a black woman, and that was in 1956 in Mississippi. And the reason that they got convicted for rape is that they didn't kill her.
Mm-hmm.
So this Sandy Rubenstein was right up there with his fist in the air talking about no justice, no peace. I guess he thought justice was her legs should be cocked open and no peace if she took his ass to court. Mm-hmm. So Al Sharpton, a snitch, a gangster, they're all moving in. You see Curious George, wasn't one, Crump, he looks like Curious George. He does. All of the same players that were working under Obama to get Hillary Clinton in off of a race war, they're back. I don't buy this shit. Black folks aren't so organized that we can have protests in 50, 60 cities at one time. This is outside money. This is Soros money. This is Antifa. This is right-wing Nazi money. This is all kind. It's not black people. Look, I want to remind a lot of folks because, it's true. Trump says there's no racism in the country. He's wrong. Trump says they start looting, we start shooting. I don't agree with that either. There are racism I don't agree with. However, on the left, there's been a dream, a fantasy, going all the way back to 94 years ago, or about, it's been the last 100 to 94 years, where they had the first Communist International, and they started talking about a black republic in the southern states of America, where black folks were just 5 states. And what they were talking about is a revolution in this country in which black people would be used as basically how can you say, a condom, body shield. I mean, we would be slaughtered for the white LGBTQ commies to take over this country. That's how they'll deal with the racial issue. Get black folks to be the front line of people who would be shot down and massacred in a racial civil war. All the blacks would be killed, and the whites on the left, the liberals who hate our guts, who are killing us with abortion and DEPO and GMO, they're unlike the Republicans. We would be dead. We would be slaughtered. We would be exterminated. And people, they built monuments to the heroic black people, and we don't know how so many of them died in the war. We're going to get used like toilet paper and Kotex and suppositories. And we need to open up our fucking eyes. I am not saying I hate police brutality. I hate being ruled because of my skin color. I hate my lack of self-determination and sovereignty. I don't like not getting my share. I want 2 damn reparations checks because I'm as Indian as I am black. However, I'm not going to die for a bunch of Khazarians and other deviants who want to take over the country. They have a war with the Anglos, and they'll use us. If you start looking at these protests, you see all these illegals, all the little DACA criminals that are up here who get money to go to college and get job training and get jobs and housing, and we don't. Trust me, 2-3 months from now, folks are going to say, we marched for George Floyd. We supported the black community. You owe us. You owe amnesty to 22 million illegals here. You owe us.
Right.
We aren't going to get a fucking thing out of this. Y'all want to change?
I got something that'll blow your mind.
Boycott. Don't spend your money with these people. Don't trade with these people. Leave their asses alone. The businesses are already collapsing in this country. All we have to do is have ourselves together like the walls of Jericho. The shit will fall down, and we can walk through and pick out what we want. But if we try to go in with this bullshit where they will push us out front, I'm going to say one more thing. I'm going to let you go, Brother Ree. Down in St. Louis and in Ferguson, the same Antifa, I call them Clantifa, those leftist Nazis, they don't have an agenda for black people. What the fuck have they done for us lately? Let me tell you, what they would do in St. Louis, there'd be a protest and they would go and throw bags of doo-doo and water bottles with piss on it, and the white cops would shoot into the black people. Black people are still being killed all over the St. Louis, St. Charles County area. They're dying in Los Angeles. Mostly whites, Hispanics, and Asians rioted in Rodney King's trial, and the black community is being punished for the last 28 years. Look, they're going to burn up, get all the credit for not being racial, taking the proper stand about Black Lives Mattering, and we'll be left holding the bag when the Nazis and the cops and SWAT and ICE and everybody comes. We'll die for it. It's like Elvis Presley all over again. We'll be the originals. They'll make a race record, or they'll make a cover of it, get all the money, and we'll get all the pain. When are we going to stop being the bottom bitch of white supremacy and honorary white supremacy and have our own thing? And I, again, say as a distant relative of Emmett Till, I'm understanding. As a close friend to Malcolm Shabazz, beaten to death, March 9th, 2013. As a distant cousin to Freddie Gray, I'm tired of the death. As some kind of extended family member to Satterwhite shot in North Charleston, and to distant cousin to Mr. Battle shot by cops down in Gastonia, North Carolina. I think I know a little bit about folk getting killed by police or getting lynched, okay? And I'm saying to folk, use your mind. That's the one thing. The joke that they would always tell is that there were three men, a white man, an Asian man, and a black man. And they had three brains. And they had a white brain, it was worth $1 million. The yellow brain was worth $5 million. And they asked, what was the price of the black brain? He said, it's priceless. The shit's never been used. Wake the fuck up, people.
Wow. Well, I mean, not bad. I mean, I can't believe it's been 7 years since he died in May 9th, 2013. It's been a while. That's Malcolm
5 years. And it's Mexicans that killed him. When I see that Mexican flag, oh hell, I ain't marching nowhere with that thing. That's like a little pirate, skull and bone shit. I see that. Oh hell, I think I'll stay home and watch some Hulu or something. I can't be caught up with that.
Well, you know, like you speak of Al Sharpton, I know there's been criticism among people I talk to about the lack of black leadership at this time of crisis for black people, for black Americans. So I seen something with Tamika Mallory on, which I thought was very moving and inspiring. But, you know, what do you think about Tamika Mallory?
Well, Al Sharpton is to Tamika as Berry Gordy is to Diana Ross.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's just like that.
So, and speaking of Brother Malcolm Shabazz, just had the birthday observation of Brother Malcolm X. I know people go around quoting Malcolm X, but do people really understand or understood what he was saying so many years ago about the Democrats and Republicans, the foxes and the wolves, and about the ballot or the bullet? Because, I mean, people still pushing this voting rhetoric. Like, I see people like...
Did you just see, if you just saw George Floyd's brothers talking to people about voting?
What they got to do with anything? You
know what? The best thing that happened, if you look at how people are somewhat paying attention to black folks right now, you know why?
What?
It's because they anticipate we're not going to vote. See, look, how much money will they make at the racetrack or at the casino if people stop going? Right? They're going to start having better food. They're going to have a buffet at the casino now. I mean, 2 for 1. Okay, they start making a deal because the system, the president, Donald Trump, he told you it's rigged. If black people let this damn thing crash, and I mean this, it's not that I'm not going to vote, but if we didn't, it doesn't matter if I vote, I live in D.C., but if black people didn't vote, it would destroy the careers of all the little coon Democrats who don't do shit for us anyway. And as much as their ass has been silent during the pandemic, they're being silent during this. In fact, they'd be really silent if they were putting our asses in cattle cars and trucks, taking us off for our destruction. So why are we voting for more of the same? That's like asking a rape victim to pay a tip to her rapist. This is what we've been doing. Why don't we have our own parties? Can't we have I told people that, I know you hear this from people criticize me, Brother Ron. They say I'm a coon. I said, no, I would join an all-black party. I don't care if we won nationally. If we could win locally, we'd start somewhere. But you know what? These people who want you to vote, they want to be included. That burning house that Dr. King talked about, those niggas want to live in that real estate as long as the deed is held by a white person. They're happy in that burning house.
Yeah, it's sad. Here in Minneapolis, they had people putting black-owned on their businesses to keep them from getting burned. But guess what? That was like a tripwire because that was putting the black business owners out there to get burned because that was the KKK burning everything here in Minneapolis. But I want to shed some light on you and I want to tell you a quote that I got from a gentleman that I know who I do business with, very successful white man. He's very nice. And he told me this is what he saw. He said, the rich didn't get the memo. I said, yeah, why you say that? He said, because what I seen was they told everybody to stay inside. The businesses that they said were essential shouldn't have been essential, like liquor stores that are poisoning people back out on the street for people that don't even drink liquor to go and learn how to drink liquor because they're staying in the house and they're depressed because they can't live their ordinary lives, okay, because of the pandemic. Now, I get what they were trying to do, but this is what we saw and this is what I saw as a business owner. I seen small businesses, like Trump said. I have never seen people getting more rich than small businesses ever in my life. And so right after he said that, now keep in mind, I was in a meeting one time where I heard a U.S. bank owner, and like I said, I like to skip around. The U.S. bank owner said, before we go out of business with all the digital banking, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, where you can take all your funds if you wanted to, leave them right there, leave them floating, and then take a check or cash out when you want to. And so the banks, that's why they had interest rates so high. But I'm going to get back to this point on what my buddy said that he saw. They made the rules to drain small businesses and great thinkers because their thoughts were better than the thoughts that were on Wall Street that were going to knock out some of the big sharks. So they drained their businesses with this pandemic where they set back and set back and set back and set back before they dropped the package to help these businesses. So that way, when they saw that they were drained out, their idea was to put the rich back to work, the middle class to work, and the poor back to work, so that now it's only wealthy. And so now the rich has to get back out there and work hard. The middle class, if there was a middle class left, because the middle class was in the room with the rich and looked around and said, "What are you doing here?" You get what I'm saying? So you got to understand what they were trying to do, because they were implementing something with this pandemic when it went through. Then there was maybe 10 things that they tried to implement, and I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I want to tell you something, what I saw. I saw they didn't put a pack out to help none of these businesses. So then when they click back and say, "Hey, come on back out and play," those businesses were done. Okay? So, and in order for them to be a business again, you have to take the PPP loan from us. You have to take the SBA loan from us, because my eyes were shocked when I saw the Lakers tried to get the PPP loan. What the hell do you guys need a PP loan for? That's what shocked me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, what? I mean, the Lakers are paying players to play. Why would you guys need to get money when you guys are building a multi-billion-dollar organization amongst ball clubs as a union, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is, they are going. I've been telling everybody this. They don't believe me. They want us to shoot back at the cops, because I'm going to tell you about the fear packs that you guys didn't see for the last 5 years. 1, it was school shootings. 2, it was church shootings and gatherings and theaters and stuff. That died down. Then you start to see the pickup of police starting to kill blacks. You start to see. I watched it. I've been watching it for the last 10 years. I'm seeing how many police is killing blacks out there because what they want to do is, and people say, "No, they'll never do it. No, they'll never do it." But if we start shooting back at police, blacks, they're coming for the Second Amendment, because they want that control, because they know they're looking at it like, man, everybody's got weapons, so that's why the police are doing all these killings, because, you know, they fear for their lives now, because everybody has a weapon to them, they think. And these are excuses for them to put out there to take the Second Amendment back. And not only that, the pandemic, they disrespect so many people's rights, and they're not even saying anything about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, it hurt me so bad, because you're telling grown men to stay inside, all this and all that, and they're shutting their business down that people have worked hard for. And then you see, and like I'm saying, all my friends are getting mad at me saying, "Oh, man, that flu and everything is real." But whoever said that it's called the COVID? Because they said it's the COVID. Okay? We're so governized as people to not even look at what the government did to us. I mean, how are you going to argue with us for giving us money to help us when you guys can go in all these other countries and give them money and not even put up a fight or put a stipulation on their money that you're loaning them, when it's our tax money that you're juggling with? Okay? So what I'm trying to tell you is, they drain the small businesses so that Wall Street can buy up the ideas that were left out there on the table that were going to hit Wall Street and knock out some of the big sharks. Now everybody's going to buy those ideas up because they can't afford them anymore. It's basically what they did. It's what I saw. Okay? That is a horrible thing, what I saw. And like I said, who's to say what flu it is? Because you say what flu it is and the television is saying what flu it is. It could have been totally named something different, is what I'm saying. See, we got to start having control of our own money. That's why I started a small business, because you know what? The government don't never know not unless I tell you, and that's why they went so hard on small businesses, because they think that small businesses are hiding offshore money. And so if they ever went digital, everybody to make that money even value again, they got to bring it back across the board. Now they know what everybody was making and what they were doing, see? That's what they ain't telling nobody about, that I've been watching for so many years, that my mom coached me on, who's been a bishop all her life. And not only that, I'm going to just be honest with you. If you look at Revelation 6.6, I want everybody to take a look at that. That's where we are right now. Because they kept the wine, meaning the liquor stores open, and they said don't touch the oil, meaning the gas station stayed open during whatever that went through the city that harmed everyone with disease. I'm telling you this, man. I'm not just pulling everybody's leg. I'm watching it. because I'm going to give you guys something. I'm going to give you guys something, and you can be the first one that said I said this. Those locusts that are eating all in Africa, guess what, buddy? They may just be coming this way. You know why? God gave me a vision. He said, Ed, start buying up seeds that can grow year after year after year after year after year, even when you plant them. And as you look, you go to Menards, all the seeds are gone to grow your own food because, listen, they're coming for full control. That's what I'm telling y'all, man. I'm a small business. I've been in business for 8 years. I've been watching everything that they're doing. Those who took that PPP loan, you allowed the government to get all in your assets, to see what you have, to see how your company is doing. And they didn't even realize that. They just went out there and said, oh, man, we lost all our money through COVID, this and this and that. You know, this is what we need to do. It's a sad thing, man. The leadership is bad. They're formulating a plan, and they've already did a great job of destroying all the small businesses because they didn't give them anything. But they gave everybody else all the money to help their organization. And that's all I'm saying, man. I mean, we got to keep our eyes open as black people because we're heading into a new league right now of the have and have-nots. And that's what we're in. And a lot of people got caught with this pandemic with their pants down because they didn't have any funds to feed their families. And you see a spring in crime that went up because of that. And so, black folks, we got to start saving our money. We got to start investing in real deals that's going to help us out here. You know what I'm saying? Quit buying all those cars with your money. Quit buying all these clothes with your money. Supporting other businesses that don't help support you back. Where I put my money is, I put my money to where my money is making me some money, and that lets me know that I'm moving forward. I'm not going to ever invest my money in cars because if you see right now, when that pandemic hit, all those cars didn't mean a doggone thing. They couldn't even get a sale, all those dealerships, man. So that lets you know material stuff doesn't mean anything. You better find something greater that's value that's going to catapult you the next time something like this happens. And that's what my message is to the black community because we're smart people. They want to believe, because look, I've been black since 1979. Can't nobody tell me that. Okay, that I've grown up. I mean, I know a lot of people. I've went different places and been called the N-word and all, etc. But guess what? We can't keep turning the cheek because we're running out of cheeks. They're starting to hit butt cheeks now. They're starting to hit lead cheeks right now. Okay, when we're talking about how they're treating African Americans. You know, I mean, like my mom used to tell me, I was a great student, but my mother used to tell me, why are you acting out in history class? Because I'm not going to allow a teacher to say I'm an Afro-American, okay? While you're telling me a Helen Keller story where those Jewish people went and robbed our temples and turned around and laughed at us because of our ideas and what we had established as people, and then they want to say, oh, we're the Jewish people now, when in fact, if you go to Israel, you look over there, everybody's got dark skin. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, man. We got to get control of our minds. We got to start thinking for ourselves as black people. Because you know what? When I go to Chicago and I go to other places and I wonder if things have changed and I'm seeing brothers just mean-mugging brothers, that hurts. You should be able to relate and talk to your brother. Hey, man, how you doing, man? Without somebody mean-mugging you and look at it, you crazy. You know what I mean? So what we got to do as black people when we see this, and we see corrupt cops do what they do, because I really want to tell you guys, in Minnesota, when that Muhammad Noor cop, that Somalian cop, killed that white lady on accident, right? Because he got a call that, there was a burglary going down, and she ran through the alley to knock on the window on his car, and he accidentally shot her. I'm going to tell you what happened. What that says to us, and when we see Brother George Floyd get killed by Derek, that bad cop, that says it's not okay to kill white, but it's okay for white to kill black. That's what it says to me. Because you know why? When that Muhammad Noor dude killed that white lady, they got him in custody faster than they can figure out the investigation. Okay? But when this happened, all they're doing was they were flipping pages. Oh, my God, we have to see what regulations did he break in? This and this. See what I'm saying? When film tells all, it doesn't take three men to take down one guy. So that's how you know there was a story fabricated from that store. Okay? Usually the cops, they're going to ride with a partner. There's just going to be two of them. There were three of them. Four of them, excuse me. Okay? And you know what? It just hurts me to my heart that this happened over a measly $20 when this family makes $10,000 an hour. Okay? If I see somebody that I know that did something like that to me and he's a regular that's coming in the store, my whole thing is I'm going to tell him I'm going to put a picture on the wall. You can't come back in anymore. Hey, Tom, cook him a burger and you can't come back. I'm going to feed you and tell you can't come back because you know why? That family has taken from the black community for 31 years, man. They go and buy outdated goods. They go to the Dollar Tree and grab goods to come back to sell 3 times more than what it costs. How horrible is that? Okay? The foods that they're selling in there don't do nothing but provide cancer for the community. Okay? That's what corner stores are. All the Arab cats, all they did was come to this country, jump in the middle of everything where the black community is at, and put a store there to give them cancer with all the foods that are not even great for you. Okay? So we got to start thinking, black people. We got to start thinking. We got to start seeing what's going on out here. Quit living your life thinking that we have a future. It's our job to make a future. Ain't nobody going to give you no future out here. Okay? And we can't keep riding the wave. Okay? We got to come off of all the government assistance. We got to do all this stuff and show and prove as black people that we are creators, we are venturers, and we are entrepreneurs. We need to show all of this. Okay? We got a lot to prove. Okay? But guess what? They structured this company, they structured this world for black people every time when they say, oh, drug dealers, they need to get a job. Okay? They make it seem like we don't have any way to rehabilitate here. And they do that because this is what they did. When you become a felon, they treat you like animals. They put a tag and a number on your ear, send you out in the wilderness, wait to see what your conditions are. When they feel like you've broken the lines and you went across the lines, they come and snatch you up, check you out to see if you're still living, and then they throw you back out there. Right? But my point is this. Why would 4 police officers come take down one man like that when he was by himself? He wasn't resisting arrest. Okay? Something played a part here. A fabricated story. And that's the story that's not really being told. But my thing is, black people, we see how they treat us. They say to us, oh, we don't like your style, but they want to dress like us, listen to the music we listen to, but then they tell you something else. We got to start paying attention. We have to. Because, like I said, I'm young, but I've been watching. I've been watching how the world is turning. And it's turning real cold for the black man because every time we work hard and we go to the bank with that hard check, we always come up with insufficient funds on every corner. And that's why you see the frustration. That's why you see the frustration because we can't go past go and collect $200 without going to jail. So that's all I'm saying, man. They're not letting us grow, and something has to be done. We got to start putting more minorities in those suits. We have to, because you've seen how the presidency went. They just walked in there and stole presidency. And I can't believe that a lot of people voted for a guy that knows nothing about politics. Okay? And then they're sitting here, oh, he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job. And I'm not going to lie. They didn't let Obama pass a whole lot of stuff for you to see what we needed to see. Y'all should have known that. And y'all blasting Obama, and a lot of people blast Obama. I'm not blasting Obama because he's black. I'm just saying, that was a pawn for them putting Obama in there just to keep the black man calm. We should have seen that coming. Ain't no black man going to come in there and go in there and really do the right thing without no resistance. So that's all I'm saying. You know, it's just been a horrible thing for blacks, man. And I don't blame the reason why things the way they are. And it just hurts me, man, that I'm in Minneapolis and it had to happen here from just one corner and affect the whole entire world. That tripped me out.
Well, Brother Remo, let me ask you this: like, what is it about? I heard some things online, like it's like fake news. 50% of the stuff is true, but what about this thing going around with it saying that George was well acquainted with Derek Chauvin and that he was a part of some type of counterfeit ring with Derek and his wife?
Well, Derek worked at a restaurant, and so did that cop before he became a cop. They knew each other from there. Once Derek became a cop, George got into a few domestic calls with his girlfriend, and Derek has showed up a few times on a few of those calls. And that's the relationship that they have where they know each other. And so 9 times out of 10, you hear a brother beating on any kind of woman, you're already going to have in your mind what you want to think. Okay? And that's what I think what these cops need to quit doing, because when they take your IDs and they pull you over, they scan your whole history. And then even if they don't know you, when they see what you've been involved in, that allows them to react the way they want to react.
No, you need to
like you're greasy.
White, isn't she a white woman?
She's a white woman for sure. She's a white woman for sure.
And that's part of it. Now that's the piece they need to put up. He's been swirling, and people swirl like they've lost their mind up in places like Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, here in Kentucky. I mean, the black man thinks he can be with the white woman without consequence because of Virginia versus Loving. And so, Brother Ron, remember our early conversations, I was warning people there will be more people killed for being an interracial. Black men and women will be getting killed because they just have to be laid up with someone that looks different from them. And I'm not saying you can't love who you love, but you will get killed by racists who can get you. Asians don't want you with their women. Latinx don't want you. That sounds like some damn jacked up Chinese technology, but I'll say it. Latinx don't want you with their women. Indians don't want you with their women. Chinese don't want you with their women. And then half of our women want to be men. We got to figure something out. We got to go back to being black men and black women and wanting each other again, because a lot of folks are going to get killed. They really think that everything has changed. So, you know, if a brother, the biggest noose hanging around the black man's neck isn't the rope, it's his penis when he wants to be laid up with another group of people. And sometimes they're going to start killing folks that are interracially gay couples, too. They get dogged, too. People don't like you swirling with them. It doesn't matter whether you see everybody as a human being and I'm just a human being. I mean, the Jews felt like that, too. They got the big-ass shower, too, over in Germany, being human. Being ignorant, being stupid, being in your feelings. With the song, no one, no way can get in the way of what I'm feeling. Well, then die, dumb black people. Get killed, get beaten. If nothing can get, no information or facts can influence how you look at things, then suffer the consequences. I just point you to the Proverbs and Psalms. We talk about wisdom walking down the street begging for hearing. And when you don't hear, I laugh at you when you come at your calamity. A lot of black folks are going to be made laughing stocks because of who they have to lay down with. And I'm not saying that there's no good white man or white woman. I mean, even for you LGBT, I'm certain there's someone that's nice that cares about you. But at the end of the day, if they're not prepared to point a shotgun at their mammy and pappy and their cousins, then your ass is on your own. Like the little silly ass black woman with the perfect white man that took her to a pool party and they drowned her ass, took her money in her car, and nobody got in trouble. Or the two little nasty little white black guys who just had to screw white girls. And the white girls said, we're going to smoke weed and play video games, and they murdered them. And the white kids up in Illinois had sex on top of their bodies in some kind of satanic ritual. See, you're just thinking about your vagina or your clitoris or your nuts or your penis, ignorant black folks. And these people are thinking about land, space, eugenics, all of this. It's a far more complex thing. We operate on a very primal, elementary level when we deal with other people. We're very complex with each other. I don't like your grade of hair. I don't like the kind of shoes you have. I don't like your color. I don't like the mole on your eye. I don't like the shaped booty you got. I don't like the way that your fingernails look. You know, we're very, very complex with one another, but we're so accepting. You know, certain people, most people have xenophobia, but they hate the foreigner. We've got xenophilia and fratro and sorophobia. We don't like one another and love everybody else. You wonder why things are so jacked up.
I agree.
Stop being stupid, black folks. In fact, we can't say for you, because y'all that want to be dumb, go ahead and get COVID. Get out of our way. Get up. You'll be one less person to have to worry about. You know, like Harriet Tubman. I wonder how many people she had to pop in the head and put in the ditch so they could get north. And it's always been that way. The threat of life and death over people who couldn't make up their mind which way this is going to go. And it's not about moral suasion. Okay, you tell someone, and I'm just saying as a teacher, I'm not going to try to win you. I'll beat your ass down right here in this class. Now you understand me. We're going to have to learn to use the Second Amendment on self, or the threat of Second Amendment. In fact, we need to use it on the Congressional Black Caucus. If we were having real marches, folk would be marching on Maxine Waters' house. They'd be marching on a whole bunch of coons' houses, showing up, visiting these people. Ain't you the city council person that all the schools become charter where all the whites get jobs that don't like our kids, that rape them or put them on pharmaceuticals, and all the black people get fired? Don't I know you? Do you realize if we started doing that, if we started confronting people, excuse me, you're the pastor that has all the racist evangelicals that are against human rights coming to the church, right? Or say to the old woman, you're the old fat sister that keeps giving money to the crooked preacher. I don't like you. You know what? No, you know what? You can power your own scooter, right? We need to start making people pay for what they do. You know, we talk about the Boston Tea Party and the white people's revolution. You know, they punished the hell out of the white people that didn't get on code. We're the only people who plead with one another to do the right thing. So, you know what? If my father and mother always begged me to do the right thing, I'd probably be like Nino Brown. My father just beat the ass right there at the kitchen table. I can't wait to get to my blood. I just will beat you right here at the table. My steak's over here. I want to leave. Right. He'd pop your ass at the table. I mean, I'm going to beat your ass down right here. So we didn't have those. We didn't have this stuff. There's no such thing as democracy when it comes to survival of a group. Well, I'm going to democratically decide to go out with the Grand Dragon's son. He's so fine. His hair's a little curly. He's got some black in him, right? He's got some black in the gunpowder, and the gun he's going to shoot you with. You fool. Oh, she's so fine. Well, I believe that love has no barriers. Sure it does. In fact, love has no barrier when you're in a concentration camp with barbed wire that's electrifying you on the other. Our people need to stop being told you can make a choice. You're not free to be stupid at the expense of the group. I have a really good video, and it has one of my favorite actors in it. And they were these Norwegian resistance people fighting against the Germans, and they had a snitch who was for the Germans, who wasn't for his own people. And they realized the reason that they were getting shot when they were trying to roll people out past the Germans was someone was blowing a dog whistle to allow the Germans to know they're trying to get away and they're getting shot down. And someone figured that out. And you know what they did? Before he could blow the whistle, all these guys strangled the traitor and threw his ass overboard. And they were able to get to England. We're not really serious about our freedom until we're ready to punish traitors and make traitors tremble in their boots. Okay, some people just committed to the black community. They're going to look out, they're going to help the poor, they're going to do whatever they can to help people, no matter what. And that's a duty. But there's some other ones, kind that would rape someone, or pedophile, or thief, or pusher, or pimp. Those folks will only understand getting beaten to next week. If we were to we could clean up black America in 1 week if all the scum were treated the same way we treat good people. We give good people hell in our community. We're passive aggressive. You know, like a black woman will have a bad man who'll beat her ass and set her on fire and shit. She'll get a good man, and then she'll kick him in the ass for 20 years, make him die from a stroke. And right, or the same thing, black men have a good woman, and he's got to cheat with the women that look like they come out of a dumpster at a circus. Have a good woman, try to take her ass COVID, a venereal disease version of COVID. This is the kind of stuff we do. The time must come where the criminals in our community are punished not by the white man's law, but our laws. The reason other people can come together is they got some codes they get on, and they don't cross it. When that Somali man blew that white bitch away up in Minneapolis, you didn't see the Somalis coming out condemning him. Their ass is more solid than a church mouse that had eaten a box of decon. Our people need to stop rushing to condemn our own people. We need to handle it quietly. And at the same, I'm just telling you, tomorrow, a lot of this stuff would stop. The same reason a lot of black criminals do the stuff that they do, it's the same reason the white supremacist does what they do. A white supremacist, like the one with the bow and arrow that got his ass beat, he thought white America was behind him. Well, first and foremost, white folks will get behind people with bow and arrows. It reminds them of Indians. Now, if he had a gun, maybe the NRA or somebody would have done a little promo or public service announcement for his ass. Mm. But that same white supremacist just knew. Dylan Roth knew that most white people were behind him. That's why he killed those people. He figured white people would back him. Well, our black deviants, our criminals, our rapists, our trannies, all the people that are doing what they have no business doing, sense that a significant number of black people have their back. And then they may be right. There are many of us that tolerate their filth, their stool, their scum, their bowel movement, their excrement, their feces, their effluvia, their nitrogenous waste. And it's a discredit to our race that we let our knuckleheads and our thugs and our tramps and our skanks define and run wild. We have to regiment them. And ugly, in a nasty way if need be. You know, poor white people do not hang out in rich white areas. You know why? Because rich white folks will stomp them. They're not going to tolerate it. Poor white folks quietly stay in their redneck areas. Now, black people who don't have the same disparities in wealth, once you get past the bottom 15%, most of us don't have shit, myself included. But of us 85 to 90% of blacks that don't have shit, we should force the other ones who are broke to respect us. And unfortunately, until we get to that point, I'd say this and I'm going to shut up. My father grew up in the projects. Those projects still stand. They're called the Langston Terrace Projects, built in the 1930s. Those projects were so nice, they were featured in national magazines. It was all black. No one white lived there. Do you know that if you had roaches, the black people would throw you out? If your kids didn't go to school, the black people would throw you out? If you did something like piss on the sidewalk or doo-doo in the hallway, the community would throw you out, not give you 30 days. They would hit you in the head with your stuff from the window of your dwelling. They didn't want to live in nastiness. Just because I'm black, I don't want folks whose dogs doo-doo in the backyard and they never clean it out. You know, the dog's got doo-doo calcified between his paws. I'm talking about, I've lived in some black areas. It's not everybody, but it's a type of black person. They won't cut their grass. They have a birthday party for their 3-year-old and they're giving blunts to the babies. This kind of garbage, they didn't tolerate. They come down on you. We don't want it. If you want to be a freak, there's a red light zone. Go there, chase horse somewhere, but don't do it where we live. They have a saying, only a pig shits where it eats. I have to ask a lot of black folks, are we people or are we pigs? That we let certain sorts of filth and garbage and confusion. You go in a black neighborhood and the people play their damn music so loud on the cars that are going to be repossessed. You're almost glad the repo man comes so you don't have to hear their bad music. Why so loud? Why so out of control? Why so disrespectful towards everybody else? And this is sort of where black men need to come in, step up, and put some order, and black women too. And that order includes, what we eat, how we're living. We've got to go on the offense to gain our health and our sanity and at least control the spaces that we have. The explosion in black homelessness is proof that having something beats the hell out of having nothing and nowhere to go.
All right, yeah, these are great points. I'm glad we're having this discussion because there's a couple of things I want to point out and make people think about. The George Floyd and Derek Chauvin situation, and it reminded me of OJ because OJ is very active on Twitter. And he talked about his surprise that the people are seeking the opinion of Mark Furman on this situation with George Floyd. And we know that Mark Furman was known to have a relationship with OJ in terms of he came to the house a couple of times for, I guess, some
and he had sex with Nicole. He was screwing Nicole too.
Yeah, so it was a personal thing. He kept on violating the crime scene, and a lot of people don't even understand how it really was almost 30 years ago. Then you go back to the Emmett Till thing, which would be the 65th anniversary of that happening in August of 55. It would be the 65th anniversary of that in 2020. But there was a interview done by the Jackson Clarion Ledger back in 1985 on the 30th anniversary of the Emmett Till lynching. And they found Roy Bryant, the ex-husband of Carol Bryant, back in the Mississippi Delta, owned a grocery store that serviced black people. But most of his customers were black in the Mississippi Delta, where he was driven from with his brother J.W. Malum after the trial. I did a confession in Look magazine. And he said something that it stuck with me to this day when I first read that article. Basically, he said that, black people today are not afraid as they were back in the 50s. But the problem is they do not know. If they knew who I was, I would be a dead man. And so to me, what good is to have courage and to be brave and not have knowledge of self or any type of awareness of the system that you're dealing with? Mm-hmm. And
that's a question for all the dumbass millennials. Ask that again. There are a lot of dumb fuck millennials. Y'all,
it's not all their fault. I'll get back.
Damn, they're dumb. Woo.
They're not dumb. I won't say they're dumb. They just don't know.
But they don't want to know. I'm a teacher. These people don't want. They don't want to know. Some of them, they're gonna learn when their
parents don't want to know. Their grandparents, a lot of them, willfully ignorant, or they just want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, they just. Want
now you talking about the boomers? Then you talking about the people my age, the ones that are all on crack and silly. But I want to say something. I want to say something about the Bryants. That wherever they went in the South, even racist white people didn't like them for killing Emmett Till. That's why he ended up back in Mississippi. Nobody white would have anything. Even racist white people hated their ass. You know who would forgive them?
Black people.
Probably I'll be the King.
I'll be the King.
and probably the King family, would come in and take photo ops with them. See, we forgive people. They can't forgive one another fighting over their father's jaws and all the stuff that they're doing. My God. And I saw Bernice. She looked like Dr. King with the weave on today.
She got some strong genes in that family. But, also I want to add this, too. I think people, we're such an ahistorical society. And if you don't, like Michael Jordan degraded because you didn't see Will Chamberlain scoring 100 points on video, on film. It wasn't broadcast on SportsCenter 24 hours news cycle. So he's not degraded because you didn't see it happen on tape. And a lot of people protest things like George Floyd. Well, that sister didn't record that. It'd be like a Breonna Taylor thing where, it's hearsay. We don't really know what really happened. We know a black person is dead. But people need to really study the 1930s because this ain't the 60s, because people don't understand we was in an economic expansion. We had a historic economic boom during the 60s.
Well, not black people.
Find jobs jumping out of high school and work at the factory and work their job for 30 years. But in the 30s, we had chaos.
It stopped for black men in 1962. It stopped. So
I read that story, Black Wall Street, man. That was amazing.
It's the anniversary now.
The black expansion stopped by the early 60s. This is why the riots occur. The riots began to occur. The riots began to occur a couple years after stagnation. There's a Quarterly Journal of Economics had an article that was talking about how the March on Washington, while it felt good, was shallow because black men had stopped making gains as of about 1960, 61. And so the economy wasn't expanding, although, I mean, it was expanding in a lopsided fashion. For a certain class of black people, times have never been better. But for broke-ass black people, for a range of folks, it's the worst of times. This is a great time for Michael Jordan. It's a great time for Oprah Winfrey. It's a great time for Tyler Perry. It's a great time for folks who work for the LGBTQ, Legal Defense and the Human Rights Campaign. It's a great time for maybe 15% of our people. It's about the same or worse for 85%. And this is the same situation when Dr. King died in your city of Memphis, when Jesse Jackson and Sissy Billy Kyles got together with the Southern Mafia and all those folks and had Dr. King killed at St. Joseph's Hospital. Dr. King was fighting for the trash men because that represented the future of a lot of black folks who had jobs but they were not making enough. And by the way, the entire civil rights establishment turned their back on Dr. King for trying to help trash men. And they still haven't apologized. Dr. King's been dead all of these years. They've never recognized we must do something for the least of black people. Now you have this, Martin Luther King size MLK, Reverend William Barber, the real big, morbidly obese one that they're trying to make our leader. Now, these people are talking about poverty, but it's the same scam. It's illegals, it's Appalachians, it's the Indians on the reservation. We're going to help everybody, and everybody else helps themselves. So that big, fat, sloppy dude with the greasy hair is offering us more of the We Are the World, kumbaya with an empty fucking bank statement movement. I don't like it.
Well, I don't have, look. The economic expansion was historic. It was real. It's always been lopsided for black people in this country. But we don't do our part to study the victories that we did have. Like Black Wall Street was a victory, and they were terrorized for being successful, having self-determination, and for having their own businesses. Magic Johnson said something that was very powerful when I saw him at the Freedom Awards program. He was, for the Civil Rights Museum. It was at the Temple of Deliverance, Kojic. And Magic said something that was very powerful. He said, today, you have more black millionaires than you did back in 1960. But in 1960, you had more black businesses than millionaires. And one of the reasons why a lot of things that we gained in the movement that we did, people don't study Montgomery bus boycott. You had thriving black businessmen like A.G. Gaston, like S.B. Fuller. We don't even know their names anymore. They had construction companies and hotels and restaurants. They was able to bail out
because we ran after.
Let me finish. So we don't talk about what we need to talk about. I said people need to study the 30s. It ain't the 60s. It's the 1930s where folks was out in the streets. The GI Bill did not come because of World War II. The GI Bill became because the bonus army, the collection of World War I veterans, they had their own little tent city up in the 30s. They were sabotaged and terrorized by their own people. People like MacArthur, like the Eisenhower, like Patton.
Like Roosevelt.
Went out against the veterans that earned those benefits that did not even get it. They had to wait a decade to really air their grievance. And then because of what they did, you got the GI Bill, which a lot of black veterans did not have the ability to take the true advantage of. But what I'm saying is we got to understand that black folks had the answer for decades how to deal with the police. Robert F. Williams had the answer. If you look at his last interview before he died, one of his last interviews, he said, the reason why they don't talk about me is because we didn't lose nobody. We fought back. We fought the Klan. We fought the police. We didn't lose nobody. And he said, I wanted my hometown to be Mount Vernon for me. Because George Washington had a Mount Vernon where he returned to after he served the country. But you got streets named after Malcolm X and Dr. King and Medgar Evers schools, but these are the Negroes who couldn't even make it to 40. So they traumatize you with the names of King and Malcolm and Medgar, saying that you better know your place because you won't make it to be a full man. He won't allow you to make it to 40 if you take a stand like George Washington or Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Jefferson. So what I'm saying is we got to stop, we got to stop selling each other short because we've been cheated after knowing who we really are. We don't talk about the right things.
It's the condition.
I
ain't going to lie. I don't really have a lot of excuses for being a black man because I feel that, every individual has to put their own work in. But that condition was so tough on us that, the literacy that you see today is from all of that, man. And, I mean, when you whoop people to say stop reading books and keep whooping them, and then to get to a point and say, hey, we need you to read this book now because you're not going to get this job. I mean, and then you got people that don't know anything, and they're illiterate. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to, they put so many stepping stones in the game and roadblocks for black people not to be successful. And I mean, it's so hard, like I said, I see people every day, and I see my black people every day, and I say a lot to them, but guess what? When you start talking to black people, they go ahead and they start shooting you down because they have to start believing in themselves. They have to start believing in themselves. And like I said, that belief system was broken from all those years of slavery and all those years of oppression. And like I said, that's why you see the anger that you see today from black people. Like when you talk to them, they're already riled up, man. Because they expect the worst already before they can expect what that brother has to say good. And so that's my idea on what I've seen.
We just can't give up on our people, though, man. I knew a sister named Mama Colette in St. Louis. She used to live up in Harlem back in the 50s and 60s. She talked about how she used to see Malcolm X on the street corner talking all that stuff, getting out the subway and on the subway. She thought he was just wasting time talking all that stuff. And one day, a traumatic experience happened to her. And when she heard him for that time, on that day that the traumatic experience happened to her, it all clicked at that moment. So you can't give up on our people because we've been conditioned to be this way. Like I said, this is the anniversary of the Black Wall Street massacre, where they dropped bombs on people from airplanes, where the Gap Band, they from Greenwood. You dropped a bomb on me, it's about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and people dancing into it and stuff like that. It's like Duke Ellington was making music not only for you to dance to, but also you telling the history of black people in this country. See, we always deep like that. Michael Jackson, whether it be Tupac, we always using our platform to try to advance our people in our way, but we get caught up in the system that does not value our humanity and never recognize our manhood. They try to destroy our manhood. What they did to George Floyd was an attack on black manhood. And how you going to defend your woman? You can't even take your own ass. Like when they used to rape the strongest black man in front of his family and friends and whatnot during slavery time. It's all about buck breaking. They always trying to break us, and it's a break you system. It's not a broken system. It's a break you system. That's the way they control people. Like Frederick Douglass said, it's easier to raise strong children than it is to repair broken men. And so now is the time that we got these technologies. We need to get this information out there, disseminate it, and stand on something. Like I got black folks I talk to down in their 30s and 20s. They said, Brother Ron, we want to do stuff, but we don't know what to do. We don't know how to engage. And I said, well, Dr. King said this. He said, if a man ain't willing to die for anything, he ain't fit to live. Dr. King said that. If you ain't putting your life on the line for anything, you dead anyway, and you ain't fit to live because you're not alive. You've been programmed. So when you deal with our people, we all are walking billboards for advertisements for agendas. A lot of us don't know that. We all been programmed on different levels to promote certain ideas and ideologies. What I'm saying is that now's the time to make a choice, to take a side. Malcolm said that, the Negro Revolution is controlled by foxy liberals and the government, but the Black Revolution will be controlled by God. And that we are God's chosen people, as they say. If we are the real Jews, now is the time to stand on our faith and to manifest that faith into reality that can feed our people for generations to come. It's now a time to take sides because the contradictions have been heightened to a point where you cannot ignore what you see in front of your face and what you're feeling right now. So people gotta be brave and be willing to put their life on the line for what they want because they're killing us anyway.
Right. Yes, they are. Yeah, they definitely are. One thing I'm going to tell you about Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
When you go in some of those suburbs that I named, like Burnsville, Lakeville, Prior Lake,
Right.
those are across the river of the Mississippi. You're crossing the Mississippi. And so basically when you cross that, some of them white people over there, they see black over there, they act like they've never seen even black on television, man. It just, you know, it's an amazing thing, man, when I see that. I'm like, wow, are you serious?
Sundown towns were in the north. Yeah, they're probably like a sundown town.
All over the country.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, they had a fake Marilyn Mosby on CNN. Mm.
Oh,
At least but her hair isn't straight combed this time. I guess she's trying to blacken it out. You know what? We're so superficial. We trust the KKK if they had afros. I mean, please, people, wake up, y'all. Lord Jesus, please. Y'all heard me. Now, I know this brother's going to have to go, Brother Ron, but do you think we have a good show here? Did we treat you like you? Okay, this is great, man.
Y'all. Thank y'all, Dr. Short. Thank you, Brother Remo. We're going to call you Remo. We're going to make sure you name Remo.
Yes.
Got to do editing, but thank you for speaking your truth, man. The people going to really receive it. We need to hear from people like you, and we're going to keep you prayed up, and may the righteous ancestors keep you protected, and may you keep on stepping out in your truth and walking your truth, and sharing that love of empowerment. We right behind you. We all around you, man. Thank you.
And drop this off. I want to link to this. Got to get this around. And Brother Ron, if you know anybody in law enforcement, they need to investigate that cup foods thing. There's a story of evidence.
I want you to put this out there if you can. We're boycotting cup foods. We're boycotting them.
Okay.
And we want the African American people to stop shopping with those people because they don't care about us.
Mm-hmm.
They're waiting for
so we definitely putting that out there. Thanks.
Yes, I thank
you so
you.
much. In the words of Great Development, and we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing and stay protected.
All right.
All right.
You keep yourself white. I'll be in touch.
We will. Thank you.
Okay, fine.
Hey, everybody, this is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that jingle review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014. And so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace.